It's like, just calm down, folks. Just calm down. Hi, everybody. It is the return and the first show of 2026 for the Best Boys Center Ice podcast. I'm Barry Besse, along with my son, Carson, who will be on camera here in just a minute. We've been doing this podcast now for over 2 years, and we love hockey. Carson, I've been watching hockey since I can remember.
Back in the dinosaur years.
Huh?
Back with the dinosaurs.
Yeah, back with the dinosaurs. I played with the T-Rexes. I played the game of hockey. Maybe wasn't the greatest hockey player, but I played for about 6 years with minor hockey, young guys. And Carson just got into watching the game when you were 10 or something like that.
Yeah, preteen years.
But we both love talking hockey. We go to Dallas Stars games all the time, and that about 4-hour trip from San Antonio to Dallas. It's all we do is talk hockey. And I've always said Carson's one of the best hockey analysts I've ever heard of, and I've heard some of the best in television, radio. I've heard some of the best, but nobody does it. And I'm not just saying that because he's my son. He's really an encyclopedia of hockey, and not just his team, the Pittsburgh Penguins, but every team. Like, I know my team, the Edmonton Oilers, and I know Pittsburgh a little bit, but he knows everything. So we do this podcast. It's live now on Facebook, and it's also live on our YouTube channel, which is Best Boys Center Ice Podcast on YouTube. And we'd love for you to go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe, as we always love to hear from everybody, have everybody comment, and we'd love for you to comment on either the Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. Yep. And we've been off, Carson, since before, I think the 19th was the last show we did, December 19th. Mm-hmm. We decided to take a couple of weeks off for the holidays. And now we're back with our recap of how the Edmonton Oilers are doing, the Pittsburgh Penguins are doing, and what's new around the NHL. And
I think this is our first time where both of our teams are on a good spot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This is the first time that both of our teams are going this way, instead of one going this way, one going this way, and then the other team.
Yeah, and this year's been a bit different because mine's been more of the uphill versus yours, but now it's starting equal.
Yeah, so it's nice to see, because we love to see our teams win. Of course, we love to see our teams get into the playoffs. We've always said it'd be great to see an Edmonton-Pittsburgh Stanley Cup final, which it would be. It would be absolutely great. But we just love following the teams, win or lose. Pittsburgh has had a couple of bad, rough years here, the last few. Carson sticks beside them. That's what you got to do. The Oilers, I don't even want to go into the late 1990s into the 2000s. I don't even want to go there.
No, but we know what it was.
Pretty dark times for the Oilers.
Yeah.
But we're here. We're doing the podcast, and we're going to start. What do you want to start with today?
Whatever you want. It's up to you.
Okay, well, I'll start with the Edmonton Oilers, and then we'll go into the Penguins and how they've been doing, especially with how I'm really looking forward to your talk about Stu Skinner since the trade between the Oilers and the Penguins. Of course, Tristan Jarry has been out. I got some news, a little bit of news on Tristan, but
I mean, that's unfortunate, but he's looked pretty okay, pretty good when the games he played.
Yeah. So start out with the Oilers. Right now, they are 22-16-6, second place in the Pacific. Technically, they're tied with Vegas with 50 points, but the Oilers have played 3 more games, and I think they've gotten more losses than Vegas does. So Vegas gets number 1. The Oilers are number 2. Since we last did the podcast, the Oilers have gone 5-4-0. They had a really great December. Like, I think December, one of the best Decembers they've had in a few years. After we aired on the 19th, they lost to Minnesota December 20th, 5-2. Then they beat Vegas 4-3 on the 21st, and Calgary on the 23rd, 5-1 before the Christmas break. After the break on the 27th, they lost in Calgary 3-2, but then beat Winnipeg 3-1 on the 29th. That ended 2025. New Year's Eve loss with Boston 6-2. And then the new year started with a loss to Philly 5-2 on the 3rd, and then they beat Nashville 6-2 Tuesday, and Winnipeg last night 4-3 after being down 3-1. I'm going to get into Winnipeg when we talk about.
Yeah, that'll be interesting when we get there.
That's the team that is, well, we'll get to there when we talk about the NHL.
It's bad.
Connor McDavid is.
That's all you need to say. That's all you need to say are those two words.
Just Connor. He's being Connor McDavid. I'm not sure exactly how many points he's gotten in December, but
2 million.
Now he's on a tear, and he's on pace with Nathan McKinnon with 77 points.
What's he on, a 17-game point streak, right?
17-game point streak, 77 points, 29 goals, 44 assists. He leads the NHL in assists, second with goals. So he's like the last couple of years he's been, getting the assists, but now he's shooting more. He's got almost 30 goals this year. So it's nice to see him shooting the puck, because some of the stuff he does, he just seems to be, I don't know if he can be quicker. I don't know if his hand speed can be any quicker than it has been. But once he gets in, he's just blowing by guys. He's just blowing by defenders. He's getting in front of the net. He's making moves that are just like deking out the goaltenders. He's like the Connor McDavid when he was, top scorer in the league, 100, and I can't even remember how many points it was, 160 or something like that.
Yeah.
But so Connor is being Connor. On Tuesday, one of my favorite players, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins,
we love Nuge,
got his 500th assist. Nuge is the longest tenured Oiler. He was the number 1 draft pick by the Oilers. He's been there the longest. And he's that kind of guy who he's been talked about in trade talks, but then when he goes hurt like he did this year, they really show that they miss him, especially on the power play. And McDavid really, I think, misses him on that line too with Hyman. And now you got all those guys back. And Nugent-Hopkins is just doing Nugent-Hopkins things. He's a quiet guy. He doesn't get the big.
He's not flashy, but he's effective. I mean, he had, I think, a couple of years ago, one of the quietest 100-point seasons ever.
Yeah.
No one knew he was at that many points, and then all of a sudden, oh crap, he's at 100 points.
Like, he's a guy, if you're going to come out of your end with the puck, you want him to have the puck. He's one of those guys because he will rarely give it up in his own zone or in the neutral zone. He is a solid player. Congratulations, Nuge.
Yep.
500 assists. As we mentioned, Tristan Jarry, after being injured in his 3rd game with the Oilers, was back on the ice this week taking shots at practice. I'm hearing maybe a week, maybe 2, and he'll be back in the lineup. So far, Calvin Pickard and especially Connor Ingram have been holding the fort for the Oilers in the net. Now, Pick has looked bad at times, but, in some games recently, since he's quote unquote the number 1 guy, he's been playing a lot better. Some of the goals that he's letting in aren't really his fault. Connor Ingram is a surprise. And if the Oilers don't go, I know they're going to have to do something when Jarry comes back up. But man, Connor Ingram is been playing lights out for the Oilers since he got his call up from Bakersfield. Looks like the Oilers are shopping Andrew Mangiapane. He's failed to fit in with the team, and when they picked him up as a free agent, I thought this was a great free agent signing. He got a couple of goals in his first game against Calgary, but he really has not produced anything. They tried to put him on the McDavid line. They tried to put him with Draisaitl. They put him on the 3rd line, then the 4th line, and now he's been a healthy scratch. And I hear that they're actively shopping to trade Mangiapane, which he's, that happens. You think players are just going to fit in.
Like Jeff Skinner, really, it's the same thing. He's playing in San Jose, and he's playing good there. It's like
and he had a stinker time in Edmonton. Kasperi Kapanen is back. He scored a goal in his first game back and has been an impact on the line with Draisaitl and Podkolzin. I like him because he is quick, he's strong, he'll knock you right into the boards. Like he's not afraid of
Yeah.
anything, and he's a great passer. Got a great shot. He's definitely one of the guys that the Oilers, along with that was injured, and along with um, um, Zach Hyman, that they really needed to come back. Ryan Nugent Hopkins when he was injured. So now the Oilers again starting to roll a little bit. All of their players are coming back in. Next game for the Oilers tomorrow night at home against the LA Kings. Now this is the first time the Oilers are playing the Kings this year, which is really kind of strange as they're in the same division. But this is going to be the first time those two teams played. Of course, those two teams have played 3 years in a row in the first round of the playoffs. So it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting. LA is, I think they're in fourth place, I think, now in the Pacific Division. So we're going to renew that rivalry Saturday night. And then they're on the road Monday in Chicago, Tuesday in Nashville, before coming home for the Islanders on Thursday, in Vancouver on Saturday. Then they have an 8-game homestand, which will take them through the end of January and the first part of February. So that's where the Oilers stand. All in all, I've been really impressed with how the team has bounced back from another slow start. It's like the slow start is their MO. The last couple of 2-3 years, they've started slow. They've gotten all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Don't know if they're going to do that again because they've got pretty tough teams in the West they'd have to get through, including Colorado and Dallas. But they're starting to play their game again, and I think the bottom scoring is starting to pick up a little bit. It needs to pick up a little bit more. People say, well, it's just Draisaitl and McDavid. Okay, well, they're not stopping Draisaitl and McDavid, so why not let those guys continue to get 17-point scoring streaks and 16-point scoring streaks? And, but I think from looking at the play, and the guys that are playing in the bottom six are doing their roles too. They're going in there forechecking. They're taking, they're causing penalties. They're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're scoring. Defense is still scoring pretty standard. So I'm overall very, very happy with where the Oilers are right now as they, we get into we're going to get up to the break here for the Olympics coming up. So should be interesting next few weeks until we get to the Olympics. All right, now we go over to Pittsburgh and with Carson. And how are your Penguins doing now?
Well, the last time we were on, that was the 19th, I think, right?
Yeah,
Of December, so a few weeks ago. And at the time, they were not in the best spot. They were in the midst of a big losing streak. They, had the embarrassing losses against San Jose and Utah, and even Anaheim, and that just kind of fueled the Penguins into losing a lot of games for a little bit. And they were fighting their way, and they ended up losing another game after we last talked, making it an 8-game losing streak. And you know, the word around it was, this is what we thought they were from like opposing, like other fans and fans of the league. Like that's what we knew, that they were pretenders. They weren't going to be able to sustain their hot start, because they really were the best, probably one of the best, probably the best team in the league to start the season off. They were number one in the NHL after month one, and they kind of fell off, but they've really proven everybody wrong and bounced back in a big ways. They're right now in the midst of a 6-game winning streak. This is their longest winning, or this is their first 6-game winning streak since 2022. And that was ironically the last year they made the playoffs. This team right now just is really playing well. The key to this right now is their hot starts. They have been playing in the first period. They've been, and this 6-game winning streak, they've scored the first goal in every game. They're scoring a lot in the first period. They've had a few. They had the game to start off the winning streak in Chicago. They scored 4 goals in the first period. After that, they scored 3 in the first against the Hurricanes. After that, I think they scored 2 again, or 2 or 3 again in the first. So their bread and butters. They're scoring a lot in the first period. Their 5-on-5's gotten a lot better. Their power play is second in the league. The whole team just is buying in. I think this fourth line that they have right now is the best fourth line in the NHL, because Lazat, Achari, and Dewar are constantly in the middle of it on the score sheet. They're constantly creating chances. They're constantly on the forecheck. It's amazing to watch how good they're playing, and they're really creating a lot of momentum for the team because then the top lines get to dominate. Uh, Same thing with McDavid. Sid is Sid. He's still lighting it up like crazy. He's got 24 goals already this year. He's at over 50 points. He's in a 7 game point streak right now, or 6 game point streak right now. And the games have just been really entertaining. I mean, they're everybody's playing really well. There's not one guy on this team right now that's playing underwhelming to me. They're all playing really well. They made a little trade last week with Columbus getting Yegor Chinikov for Danton Heinen, and Chinikov has fit right in. He's already got a goal in his second game. He's got that shoot first mentality. It's amazing to watch, and it came at the right time. Last night, Gino came back and scored a goal, but the games that they've won, they got shut out against the Canadians the day after we spoke. Then they beat them in overtime or in a shootout on the 21st, which was the game that Sid got the uh, record breaking point, passing Mario for most points in franchise history. And then they headed to Toronto on a Monday matchup and lost against the Leafs, and then they kickstarted uh, their winning streak as they won 7-3 against the Blackhawks on the 28th. Justin Brazeau got his first hat trick in that game. They beat the Hurricanes 5-1, which that's been the bugaboo team for them. They can't seem to play well against them, and they completely dominated them from minute 1 to minute 60. 5-1, they won that game. Then they had a home and home against the Red Wings, which they uh, won on New Year's Day 4-3 in overtime, which was the worst officiated game I think I've one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen. The Red Wings, I think, had 8 power plays in the game, and the Pens only finished with 2 or 3. So it was one sided completely with that part of it, but they still overcame that and won. Then they headed to Detroit for the second pack of the home and home, and they beat them. Uh, they beat them 4-1 in the game where they only allowed 12 shots on goal the whole game. That's a masterful performance. And then they headed to Columbus on Sunday to complete the back to back as well because they went to Detroit for a Saturday to Columbus on Sunday. And they're down 4-1 against the Jackets. And bit by bit, they claw back into it. And sure enough, they win in overtime to complete the comeback, complete the perfect weekend. And then finally, they have 4 days off and they come back home, but they have a surprise waiting for them. And that's the Bugaboo New Jersey Devils, another team that they just don't match up that well against. And they beat them 4-1. The Penguins in divisional play this year have been amazing. And that's part of the reason why they're in a playoff spot right now is because they've only, I think, lost 3 times in regulation or 3 times against the divisional all year. And I think only one of those has been regulation. The rest of them have been in overtime or a shootout if they've lost. So they're getting points against the division, which is why they're in a playoff spot. As it is right now, they're in the first wild card in the East, but they have games in hand on a lot of teams because of the international series, still making up games from that they missed. So they have the chance to win a couple more games. They can find themselves right back in the second spot in the division and possibly the first before you know it. Upcoming games for them, we play against Calgary tomorrow to be first of a back to back, and then we head to Boston on Sunday. Tuesday they play at home against Tampa, Thursday at home against Philly, and then Saturday at home against the Columbus Blue Jackets. So, and then lastly, I mean, not really part of the week, but they'll play after that on the road for a few. They'll start a Western road trip in Seattle, which I'll be at that game, which will be neat to watch a game at Climate Pledge. But they've got a lot of good games coming up and chances to win big. I mean, they're playing a Calgary team tomorrow that's kind of floundering a little bit, but found their game a little bit. They've got opportunities to win games, and they've won a lot of games already. That going into it, they're probably not the favorites. So my message with all this is why not them? Because they've proven a lot of people wrong, and they're on pace for over 100 points.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it, they're on pace for over 100 points, and they have tons of cap space. So that makes for an interesting trade deadline if Kyle Dubas goes aggressive with what he sees. If he thinks he needs to make any moves, I think the team is great the way it is because you've got the perfect level of finesse, scoring touch, as well as just simple being able to outwork the other team. but they have 55 million in cap. Regardless of what it is, they have the room to do something, maybe. But I like the way this team's built, top to bottom. They're strong. They're playing really well, night in and night out. They're getting good goaltending, even when the goaltending they're getting isn't maybe as great as it should be. They're still finding a way, and that's all that matters. They're getting the saves when they need them. They're scoring goals when they need them. They're scoring on the power play pretty much every night. They're killing penalties for the most part. So I'm pleased. I'm praying that this is a playoff run because I think they really deserve it and they're playing like they want it right now.
Yeah, yeah, they are playing great hockey all year. Like they've had they had their stretch where they were
Even some of those games they lost, so they played well for like 50 minutes
yeah.
and then they just blew it.
So let me ask you, what do you think about Stu Skinner a few weeks in?
He had a rough couple of first games. First few games were not very pretty for him, definitely, but he's been amazing the last couple weeks. I mean, his last 3 games, I think his goals against is only 1 per game.
Yeah.
He's playing really well. He's got confidence. He's stopping the puck. I think he's found himself a home here. He looks happy to be there. He looks happy to play. The guys are rallying around him. The fans are rallying around him with the Stu chants. I think that helps him. Truly, I think when he's put in an environment that he knows people believe in him, he does better. And I think right now he has the belief of the fans and the people in that locker room, and that's why he's playing well. I think for him too, this is also a unique opportunity and difference for him. So I think about this that throughout the time he's been in Edmonton, he's always been the guy that's being mentored. He's now the mentor for Archer Shilovs now because Shilovs is a rookie. So
Yeah.
Skinner's the vet out of them too. He's leading by example. Whenever Shilovs does well, he makes sure he lets him know after the game against the Jackets the other day when Sid scored that amazing backhand OT winner 5-hole. Shilovs comes out of the net, is kind of pumping his fist, celebrating, and Stu goes right to him and hugs him. He's leading him by example, which is great. I never disliked Stu Skinner. Even when he was in Edmonton, his just performance was always shaky, but he seems like a really good teammate, fun
Mhm.
guy to be around, and I'm hoping this is a good fit for him because he seems happy, and the team seems happy to have him around. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. Is just morale boost and how he plays so far.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he finds a good home in Pittsburgh and can turn things around because he is a great guy. He's an Edmonton guy.
Yeah,
He's born and raised in Edmonton. And hope
yeah.
I
Well,
like the like you. I didn't hate the guy, but he just had very
poor
inconsistent
numbers.
play with the Oilers.
Well, and I mean, like, it's the same thing with Jars. Like, it's just was never meant to be for either of them in their old city. It wasn't going to happen. Like, it
Yeah.
just wasn't. And, I think both teams have gotten a boost since that trade. I mean,
Hmm.
really, both
Yeah.
teams have been playing really well. And I think it's worked out for both. I mean, both guys are pretty young. They're in their 20s. I mean, I think low risk, high reward for both because I mean, both have proven when they can play really well. We know their ceilings and their floors, but
Hmm.
I think this is the fresh start they both needed, and it's definitely benefit both teams.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Let's move on to the NHL and top of mind since I just watched them play last night.
God.
The Winnipeg Jets. I've lost 11 games in a row now.
They've
And I've
won,
only won
they've only won 3 out of their last 23 games.
3 out of their last 23. They're last place in the entire NHL. And ladies and gentlemen, this is last year's President's Trophy winners as the top points getter in the league. I looked at the team last night, and they've got talent on that team. And this is the Oilers have beaten them now 3 times this year, and I keep seeing sparks of the last year's Jets team. And then, like last night, they have a 2-goal lead, 3-1, and they blow it. And they I don't know what is going on in Winnipeg, but um, if they don't if they don't start getting a win streak going before
Oh, it's
February, before the break, they're going to be in big trouble because they're just absolutely terrible at holding on to leads. And I don't know what's with Hellebuck, but he is definitely not the two-time defending Vezina Trophy winner. It's a mystery what's going on in Winnipeg.
it's befuddling.
Yeah,
It's really
like it's
befuddling.
just like I can, you can talk about some other teams that have fallen off. Teams like Calgary.
But not the Jets from first to last.
Yeah, first to last, first in the NHL last year to being last. And I know, there's been some history of teams being last, like the St. Louis Blues making it to the Stanley Cup and winning the Stanley Cup. But Winnipeg has just got no, I don't know if it's the confidence thing.
Well,
If
they're
it's
not winning, and that can't build confidence if they're not winning games.
like you can see as they were going off the ice, they were just so dejected because they had that game. They should have won that game. But they just, make mental mistakes at the wrong time. And, I feel bad because the city, I've been to Winnipeg many, many times. You went to Winnipeg last year for a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great city. It's a great hockey city. But
yeah, they love the Jets, but they're not playing good at all.
No, they're not playing good at all. Here's another team that's kind of fallen off a little bit after being up top of the Pacific for a good portion of the first part of the year. The Mighty Ducks have fallen into sixth in the Pacific and are a point out of the wild card race. Now, we know it's a young team. We know that, they've got a lot of building to do.
They didn't have expectations.
They were on top of the Pacific Division for a long time. And now all of a sudden you look down and they're like going down and they're going down and they're barely above 500 now. I know it's still a long ways to go in the regular season, but when you're in the Pacific Division against Vegas and Edmonton, LA, you're going to have to start beating teams like that. And you're going to have to start getting some winning streaks going because the Oilers are hot. Vegas is Vegas. They're going to be going. Seattle's coming on now. They're not. I think Seattle's in third place in the Pacific, maybe just ahead of the Kings. Like it's a tight race, but I'm not. I shouldn't say surprised that Anaheim has fallen off. I'm kind of disappointed because I would like to have seen them top three in the Pacific Division. Yeah. They got a young team. They're
learning. They're growing. I mean,
yeah.
It's not honestly, regardless of if they make or miss, it's not a lost season because they've really at moments played really good, and they didn't have expectations to do anything, but they're still in the race. Yeah. Regardless of where they're at now, they're still in the race. They get a few wins going, they're right back in it. So
yeah, so hopefully they can kind of turn things. I'd love to see Anaheim back in.
Even look at even New York, the Rangers. Golly, they just are in the bottom again. Yeah.
Wow.
And the other team in New York is not the Islanders.
The Islanders are rolling now. They're really rolling. Like, let's see, 2027 Winter Classic is going to be in Utah.
That's going to be good.
Take on the Av. That's going to be a very interesting game. Utah, of course, first year in the league, and it's going to be nice and cold in Utah.
That's going to be a really good matchup, like game-wise. That's actually going to be a really good game.
So I'm looking.
And Colorado deserves to be in an outdoor game with how well they've been playing.
Yeah, it's nice for them to recognize Utah.
And that's going to be such a scenic venue, and it's going to be perfect hockey weather. Those fans love the Mammoth; they deserve a game. Even the Winter Classic last week. Okay, the game wasn't all that great, but I give the league credit for trying to expand the game, but. The Winter Classic is meant to be outside, cold weather, not with sand and palm beaches in the background of the ice. Very, very interesting dynamic. I mean, it worked. The venue was full, but the ratings for the game were crap. Like on TV, there was no promotion about it. This game, I think, has a good opportunity to be marketable and be a really good game. I mean, Utah, new team, passionate owners. Colorado, great team, one of the best in the league right now. In Utah, cold weather, mountains in the background. They've got to market the heck out of this game.
That's going to be a very scenic look. That's going to be really nice to see that. Rosters are finalized for the Olympics for all countries. Now, I'm sitting here thinking, well, everybody's saying Canada and the United States are favored to win the gold just because they have the most NHL players.
I like Sweden's team a lot. I like Sweden's team a lot.
I do. I like Sweden's team a lot. I am, not because he plays for the Oilers, but I'm a little not unsure why Mattias Ekholm wasn't on the Swedish team. He was on the Four Nations team. He's a solid defenseman, and he can shoot the puck and he can make plays. was kind of surprised that Sweden didn't put him. And the coaches said it was a tough decision, but Sweden looks good. You got Finland, Canada, United States, Sweden, and Finland have always been, right there. Now, of course, there's no Soviet Union or Russian team,
which is unfortunate because that team would actually be really solid.
That team would be really good. But I'm thinking it's going to Canada or United States will take the gold, but the rink is still, we're not 100% sure on the rink in Milan. They've had issues, and I saw today that one of the biggest issues was they signed off on everything, but the dimensions of the ice were wrong.
Yeah,
and so
it's about 3 feet too small.
Yeah, so like the NHL is keeping an eye on it. They're getting updates. It's
they had an exhibition game there today. They're trying to test out the ice surface, and there was an issue with the ice surface that they had to patch it up because there were holes coming in the ice during the game.
Yeah. So and the NHL has said if that ice is not ready to go and it's at 100%, they're not sending their players. So it could be very interesting.
Well, it's going to be a busy couple weeks for the individual committees like Hockey Canada and stuff that have to probably make backup rosters in the case that the NHL guys can't go, which will suck because the NHL hasn't played in the Olympics in a long time. And, outside of anybody's control, they're unable to go because the ice isn't ready or whatever their reasoning was for this to be taking so long or waiting so long to start. It's like cramming for the school project the night before and hoping it's done. To me, it kind of worries me that it's not going to be done very well and that it's just going to lead to somebody getting hurt.
Yeah. And you don't want to see that. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, they may have to do some rush changes to lineups.
They've only got a month.
Yep.
So we got no time.
I don't have anything else unless you've got some stuff that you want to talk about.
The only kind of other thing that happened, I don't know if you saw Shesterkin's on IR. He got hurt after the Winter Classic game.
Yeah, I saw that.
But that's unfortunate. I mean, for the Rangers and they lost Adam Fox. He's on LTIR. Both of those guys they're some of their top guys, and they're already at the bottom of the Metro. That team has already gotten shut out 8 times. It's impossible for them to win games in a row, it seems like. So I think it's a lost season. Not unfortunately, because I don't care for them, but that's a lost season, I think, in the Ranger land. And the Islanders are now the big kid on the block, I think.
I think they've taken over as a team of New York, that's for sure. All right, well, we're going to wrap things up for today. As Carson mentioned, he's going to be off to Seattle. It's about a week and a half away?
Yep, it's the Martin Luther King weekend.
Yeah, so he's going to be off to Seattle, watching the Kraken and the Penguins play. It's going to be exciting to see a game from the.
Oh, I know.
Facility there.
Well, and we're touring the arena too.
Okay, well that's
the day after, so it'll be cool.
Yeah. So I'm sure when Carson is out there, we'll get updates, and we're going to be back next week to do our show. Probably back on Thursday again. We say Thursday, but it all depends on what Carson's got a lot of stuff
work
and stuff like that. So we'll try to let you know as soon as we can when we're going to be on. But we appreciate everybody who is subscribed to our YouTube channel, the Best Boys Center Ice Podcast on YouTube. We appreciate everybody that's coming on and supporting us here on our Facebook channel. We've got a lot of great people that are talking about our podcast, and it's just so fun. I never always dreamed about doing something like this with my son, and him and I just are on the same boat as far as being passionate of hockey, not just Oiler fan, Penguins fan,
but in sport,
hockey fan. And we just love doing it. I love doing the podcast with Carson. To me, I know it's probably not the first time a father and son have done a podcast, but to me, it means a lot to be able to do the podcast with him. And like I said, he's the best hockey analyst. I can just sit here and let him go. And he's the best that I've ever come across. So we enjoyed doing this. We thank you very much for joining us tonight. And this is the part of the show that Carson begs me every day before we do it to do. And he says, Dad, you better do this or else I'm not going to like this. He says, so in the meantime and in between time, everybody have a great hockey night.
He's a liar.